The wind rolled across the dry plains like a restless spirit, stirring clouds of dust that shimmered in the harsh afternoon sun. Miles of desert stretched out in every direction, broken only by the stubborn silhouettes of twisted mesquite trees and the rare glint of distant water. The western frontier was a place that tested the spine of every soul who dared to live on it. Some were forged stronger, and others were simply broken. On that particular day, the town of Dust Rock lay quiet beneath the heat. Horses snorted lazily in the shade beside the saloon. Stray dogs slept beneath wagons. The sheriff's porch creaked even when no wind blew. But quiet never meant peace out here. Quiet meant something was coming, and something was. A lean figure rode into town, dust cloud trailing behind him like a dying storm. His hat was pulled low, his shirt marked by sun and travel, and his eyes, sharp, cold, and unreadable, scanned Dust Rock with the wary calculation of a man who trusted nothing, not even the ground beneath his boots. His name was Cole Maddox, and though Dust Rock didn't yet know it, he had come to claim a debt, one that had been festering for years. Cole dismounted and tied his buckskin mare outside the saloon. He walked through the swinging doors, and the moment he stepped inside, every conversation fell quiet. Men glanced sideways, women stiffened, and the bartender, slick-haired, mustached, nervous, offered a forced smile. "Evening, stranger. What'll you have?" Cole didn't answer right away. He placed a small leather pouch on the counter. It jingled with unmistakable weight. "Whiskey," he said. The bartender poured. Cole drank, not fast, not slow, just measured. Then he spoke again. "I'm looking for a man named Reeves Dalton." The bartender's hand froze mid-polish. His throat bobbed. "Dalton," he repeated softly. "You sure you want that name?" Cole's eyes narrowed. "You planning to tell me he's dead?" "No, I ain't telling you that. Dalton's alive. But men who go looking for him don't usually come back with much of themselves left. He's a powerful rancher now. Rich. Dangerous." "Good," Cole said, setting his glass down. "I ain't here for his riches." "What then?" the bartender dared to ask. Cole tapped the leather pouch. "He paid for me," he said quietly. "Now the rancher's got something that's mine." The bartender swallowed. Around them, the saloon remained silent as a graveyard. Cole walked out, leaving only dust and dread behind. Reeves Dalton's ranch was the largest in 3 counties, a kingdom carved out of sun-scorched land and guarded by men paid in gold and blood. The fences ran for miles, the herds numbered in thousands, and the main house stood proud on a hilltop, whitewashed and elegant. Cole reached the ranch by sunset. A guard stepped forward, hand resting on the butt of his revolver. "State your business." Cole didn't blink. "Tell Dalton it's about a debt he paid 15 years ago." The guard hesitated, confused, and maybe a little afraid, but finally rode off toward the big house. Minutes later he returned. "He'll see you." Cole followed. Inside the grand sitting room of the ranch house, Reeves Dalton waited with a glass of bourbon in his hand. He was older now, gray-streaked hair, a build gone heavier with wealth, but his eyes still held the arrogance of a man who believed life owed him everything. "Well," Dalton said with a smirk, "look what the desert dragged in." Cole stopped in the center of the room. "You paid for me," he said without emotion. "Paid my father's debts. Paid for my freedom. Paid for my future." Dalton took a slow sip. "And now you're here to settle the score?" he asked mockingly. "I'm here," Cole replied, "because you took something that wasn't yours." Dalton raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? Well, son, you'll need to be more specific." "I've taken plenty." Cole's jaw tightened. For the first time, Dalton's expression flickered. Cole continued, voice low and steady. 15 years ago, when my father died, you offered gold to save me from debt collectors. I thought you were helping. Turns out you were collecting. You took her, my childhood friend, the girl who waited for me while I went off to work your lands. You took her and made her your wife." Dalton laughed, loud and cruel. "You think I stole her? Boy, she married me because she wanted the life I gave her. A warm house, a rich husband. She left your memory behind the same day she put on that wedding dress. Cole's fists clenched. Dalton leaned forward. She doesn't even remember your name. She remembers, Cole said, because I never stopped coming back for her. Dalton stood, anger flaring. You're 15 years too late. She's mine now, and you better leave my land before you're buried under it. Cole turned to walk out, but stopped in the doorway. She ain't your property, he said softly, and I ain't leaving until she tells me herself. Night settled across the ranch. Cole waited near an old barn, hidden in shadows. He had no plan except to lay eyes on her once more. Proof she was alive. Proof she hadn't forgotten. The barn door creaked. A lantern glowed, and she stepped out. Elara. Her hair was darker now, her face older, shaped by years she hadn't chosen. But her eyes, those soft, storm-colored eyes, were exactly as Cole remembered. When she saw him, the lantern nearly slipped from her hand. Cole, she whispered. He stepped forward, throat tight. You remember? She nodded, tears glimmering. I remember everything. They stood inches apart, 15 years of silence between them. You shouldn't have come, she said shakily. Reeves will kill you. I don't care, Cole answered. I came to take back what he stole. Elara's breath caught, not in fear, but in longing. You can't, she whispered. It's too late. I'm his wife. That ain't what I asked, Cole murmured. I asked if you're still mine. Silence. A trembling, fragile silence. Yes, she finally breathed. I always was. Before they could say another word, a gun cocked behind them. Dalton stood in the darkness, hatred twisting his features. Well, he snarled, ain't this touching? Elara gasped. Reeves, please. Shut up, he barked. Cole moved slightly, shielding her. Dalton's revolver gleamed. You paid for him, Cole said quietly, but you never bought her. Dalton lifted the gun to fire, but Elara stepped between them. A shot rang through the night. A scream. A fall. The lantern shattered, and darkness swallowed everything. The night air was cold, but Cole didn't feel it. All he felt was the weight of Elara in his arms as he dragged her behind the barn, away from the smoke and dust of the gunshot. She was breathing, shallow but steady. The bullet had grazed her shoulder, not pierced her heart. By miracle or fate, she lived. Dalton's guards stormed the ranch grounds like wolves, lanterns swinging, boots pounding. Cole stayed hidden in the shadows, cradling Elara close, listening to chaos unfold. He's here somewhere, a guard shouted. Find him. Bring him to Dalton alive, another barked. Cole looked down at Elara's pale face. She opened her eyes weakly. You shouldn't have come back, she whispered. I always come back, he murmured. She managed a faint smile, the same soft curl of lips he had carried in his memory for 15 long years. We have to go, she said, voice trembling but determined. Cole hesitated. Leaving meant war. Staying meant death. Elara, he said gently. He's your husband. She shook her head. He's my captor. Cole didn't argue. He lifted her into the saddle of his mare. He swung up behind her, holding her steady. With a soft nudge, the horse leapt into motion across the open field. Lanterns erupted behind them. There, someone yelled. Gunshots cracked through the night. Cole pressed Elara against him, shielding her as bullets sliced through the air. But the mare was swift, a creature of wind and muscle, and within minutes they were beyond the ranch fences, racing toward the distant line of darkened hills. Dawn found them sheltering in a canyon carved by centuries of ancient rivers. Cole stoked a small fire while Elara rested against a rock, her shoulder wrapped in cloth torn from his shirt. Her eyes followed him as he worked. You saved me, she said softly. He glanced up. You saved me first. She shook her head gently. You were right, Cole. Reeves didn't buy me. He trapped me. I was too afraid to leave. And now, he asked. She looked into the rising sun. Now I'm afraid not to. They shared a long, quiet moment, the kind that spoke more truth than words. But peace couldn't last. By midday, hoofbeats echoed through the canyon. Dalton's men, Cole stood and drew his revolver. "Stay behind me." Elara did. 3 riders entered the canyon, armed, angry, and determined. "There he is," the lead rider growled. "Dalton wants him dead. The woman, too." Cole fired first. The shot hit the lead rider square in the chest. The other 2 scattered, returning fire. Bullets ricocheted off the canyon walls. "Cole!" Elara cried. A second rider charged him. Cole rolled behind a boulder, aimed and fired, dropping the man. Only one remained, and this one was smarter. He dismounted, taking cover behind a narrow ledge. Cole waited. Silence. Then a faint click. Cole sprang out, firing twice. The last man fell. The canyon was quiet once more. Elara rushed to him. "Cole, you're hurt." He winced at a graze along his arm. "Just a scratch." She cupped his face. "You could have died." "But I didn't," he said softly, "because I promised myself I wouldn't leave you again." She leaned her forehead against his. For the first time, she let herself breathe freely. They traveled for days, moving through canyons, forests, and vast plains. Elara grew stronger. Cole stayed vigilant, expecting Dalton's wrath to hunt them across the entire frontier. But Dalton didn't come. Not himself. He sent more men, 3 here, 2 there, each time driven back by Cole's unerring aim and stubborn will. But on the 5th night, something strange happened. They reached a lonely outpost town, small, old, half-forgotten. Only a single tavern stood open. They entered cautiously. Inside, an elderly woman with silver hair and sharp eyes studied them. "You folks lost?" she asked. "No, ma'am," Cole said. "Just need food and a place to rest." The woman nodded slowly. "You look like you've come far, and that you're running from something." Elara exchanged a glance with Cole. There was no use lying. "We're running from Reeves Dalton," Elara said. At that, the woman stiffened. She walked closer and lowered her voice. "Dalton's dead." Elara gasped. Cole stared. "When?" "Couple days ago," the woman said. "Word spread fast. Someone shot him in his ranch house. Nobody knows who. Could have been one of his own men. Could have been an enemy. Could have been anyone." Elara pressed a hand to her lips, trembling. Cole finally exhaled a breath he'd been holding for 15 years. "What about us?" he asked quietly. The woman shrugged. "No one's looking for you anymore." Cole looked at Elara. Elara looked at Cole. And for the first time since their childhood, the world felt open, wide, possible. Weeks passed. They settled in a peaceful valley near the mountains, a place untouched by Dalton's shadow. Cole built a small cabin with his own hands, shaping logs and stone. Elara planted flowers outside, their colors glowing against the wild grass. They lived quietly, happily, together. On a warm spring morning, Elara stepped out of the cabin wearing a simple white dress, a dress she had sewn herself. Cole stood by the doorway, watching her with awe. "You're beautiful," he murmured. She smiled softly. "Cole Maddox." He took her hands. "Elara," he said gently, "I spent 15 years living for a debt, but now I want to live for something else. Someone else." Her eyes shone with tears. "You paid for me," she whispered, "but not with gold. With loyalty, with courage, with love." He kissed her forehead. "Will you be my wife, Elara?" She nodded, tears falling freely. "Yes, Cole. I've always been yours." They married under the open sky, with mountains as their witnesses and wind as their choir. Cole Maddox, the man bought by a rancher long ago, finally had what was truly his. And Elara, once trapped, once silenced, became what she always wanted to be, a young wife with a future of her own choosing. The end.